Welcome to All About the Game podcast in association with Clinched. You can download our podcast on all platforms every Friday. Clinched is a sports app that helps link clubs with coaches. If you were a coach in rugby, soccer or GAA and you are ready for your next role or your first role, download and sign up to Clinched App for free today.
And Leinster looking to counter here. Sean O'Brien, well, if there's one player who can take a hit from Courtney Laws and stand and see it off and bounce off.
Raised thanks to the accurate free-taking of John Doyle. 2 points between the teams.
Football is hurling, and maybe in that moment should have slipped out very to goal. Like, they can have a conversation and say, I want to make that decision, but it ultimately comes down to them.
Hello and you're very welcome back to All About the Game podcast in association with Clinched. I'm Podge Fogarty and I'm joined by Johnny Dial for the evening. Johnny, how are things?
I'm good, Podge, yeah, I'm good. All is good. It's great to see you in person. I was listening to you commentating on the clubber during the...
Oh yeah,
during
covering all angles.
Yeah, you're not too bad. As the man says, you talk a good game. No, I enjoyed it, Podge. You never know.
Yeah, it was a good old weekend of it until I had to stay neutral with Larry's and Cullen and then to make it worse.
I'd say that was a tough one to stay neutral.
Yeah, well look, it was disappointed from a Larry's point of view. We'll get to it, I suppose, in the podcast. But yeah, doing a bit of commentating. It's enjoyable. You know what? It's an excuse. It's an excuse to go to games and get out and watch games.
Yeah,
maybe the missus might be impressed there. I'm going here and going there to games. But
hasn't it been such an addition to to Kildare? Like it's been
unreal.
The matches, like, you know, I like, even now later on this evening, like Kyle over playing Selvage in the hurl, I'm actually going to put it on. Like, you know, you never get the chance to see them. Like, it's
absolutely class. Yeah, no, it's the same. You're sitting at home there and it was Eadstown and Comfy, and I seen on Twitter it's close enough, and
just switch it on,
get it on there, and it's unreal. It's
I just
through some of the games.
Hope it's working for both parties to keep it. You know,
that
obviously the club have to make a few bob, and then, you know, Kildare GA, they're getting financial what they need to get out of it. But I think it's such a great advertisement.
It's for club football.
Yeah,
and,
it's just,
and it's,
you get to see players, you get to know players.
Yeah,
you know, that's the thing.
That's why I was laughing after. I think I done 4 games last week and chatting to Sinead one of the days. It's mad, like it's mad. Maybe when I was 24, 25, I knew all the players when I was playing against. Where now I look at a programme,
I know,
and I'm like, Jesus, even
quick it turned.
I done the Kilcullen match 2 or 3 weeks ago. I was like, that's grand. I know all the Kilcullen lads. And when I looked at the programme, I went, Jesus, I only know 3 or 4 of them. But then I was thinking, I done Ballyteague and Ballyteague and Castledermot last week, and I said the next day, I was like, it's mad, like. I said I could name you the Ballyteague team there now after it. I went through it and listed it off, but like you wouldn't be long. Yeah, like you see names. Killian Whelan and Pat Costello there, all that. I'd say they know every player in the county through doing the games. But I actually enjoyed it.
It is, you do, and you have to. Because I know even going to a game and you meet someone, you're next thing they're chatting about this, and you don't actually get to see it, where you have to be on point or watching. You're maybe taking a couple of notes. That's funny. His 5th point, or that's you know.
It's funny because you do the first 15 minutes. Say I don't know your name. Well, you know, I don't know your face to your name. And it comes across, and you're on number 5, and you're looking down number 5 to buy a bit of time. Number 5, Johnny Dial. Next thing, you've gotten the ball 2 or 3 times, and the ball's coming across, and you're not looking down.
No, you have it.
The Lairds in Kilcullen game was actually probably the most enjoyable because I had done Kilcullen 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, and then I obviously know all the Larry's lads, so I could nearly throw.
I was sort of expecting like an F and Eddie off you when the Larry's was like, get on the fucking thing.
I said try to keep it neutral, but
you'd be like we had Morgan O'Callaghan a couple of years back on the club. He was doing the Twitter, you know, and he said, that's all the updates done. I'm coming on. He was a sub. He was doing. You could be the same. Here, lads, forget about this. I'm going on. I'll be better than half them myself.
It's funny. Even I was saying to Walls was recently bought, and I was talking to the owner of it, and I said to him, after beating beaten by Kilcullen. Larry's are playing Castledermot in 2 weeks' time. And I said, if we don't beat Castledermot, you'll have to open back up balls because we can't go right for a point, or we can't go left out the high crossing into the Castledermot boys. So
I know.
Yeah, look, I suppose Larry's looked they topped the group in the end and they got through. It was disappointing, but it's another local derby now in a few weeks. And look, I suppose we'll focus a bit of this episode around the Kildare Championship. And look, it's been great. I suppose we'll start with the Junior Championship, and it's mad. Like 4 or 5 years ago, you could nearly always say, this team, Milltown are a good bit stronger than everyone this year, and you'd see them go up, or Stratham might go down, but it's got really competitive in the last few years, and there's really good teams. And I suppose Grange have looked at the standout team under David Conway so far. They've been really good and impressive. I think the only team to get close to them was Ballymore in that championship, who will fancy themselves. Kill, who beaten in a county final last year, exited the championship in I think it was a group, just looking at it here, like you had a group, 5 team group and 3 qualified, and a 6 team group then where 3 qualified. But for Kill not to qualify out of a fight, it just shows the competitiveness of it, of that championship. And Castle Mitchell, I suppose the Harrises have been big players for them.
Absolutely,
and it's amazing how 2 or 3 young lads coming through
huge
can lift a club, and they had a good league.
And I watched Rathcoffey and Robertstown the other night, and what a ding dong, 10 goals. And obviously I'd have an interest in Robertstown,
7-10 to 3-10.
Because I know a lot of the lads who would have played, like the Joe Kavanaghs and
Joe's still playing.
Is Joe still going strong? He is. Breen Kennedy there. Lads like that. Anthony Moran is around a long time. So there's they played some really good football, and then 7 goals to give away.
That was a all or nothing game as well. Because I think Rathcoffey did top it, but I think they could have been out if Robertstown.
That's how tight it was, and they have a few right good players too. Rathcoffey, like Ethan Donoghue, is a big man at the edge of the square. He would have won a minor. Ex-Clane, he would have won a minor Leinster, which I think under Brendan.
I remember him, a good footballer.
And you have a couple of really good players. Them Moriarty's are good lads. There's another good lad, I can't even his name, escapes. Was a midfielder, but
there's lots of quality.
There is, and they play a good brand of football. And even I saw a little bit of Garvan at once. I think
and Garvan had
if Kappa thrown into
a good league. Like they actually beat their neighbours. I was slagging Beller earlier on when they beat Kilcullen, but they've turned around that. Can't use that one against them anymore. But it shows that Garvan maybe would have lost players before. To Kilcullen would have lost players into Newbridge, into Sarsfields and Moorfield. But
and I think the gap, even from going from Junior A to intermediate, is not as big as maybe the gap from intermediate to senior. Like, you look at the last 2 winners, and I know we'll talk about the intermediate, but you could Ellistown won it last year. They've held their own. They have. And like Milltown,
who are serious contenders.
Contenders.
It is true. Like there's definitely 3 or 4 teams in that junior that if they went up, you wouldn't be saying they'd hold their own.
Absolutely.
And it is it'll be interesting to see. I see the quarterfinals next weekend are at Garvan and Castle Mitchell, and then Ballymore play Kappa, and Ballymore will avoid Grange until the final if they're to get there. Stephen Cush, the manager up there, the team I'm involved with in Carlow, we played both Ballymore and Grange, and in fairness to Ballymore, they were probably disappointed not to get out of Division 4 football, but I was impressed enough. They have good players in Niall Murphy and Simon Murphy and a few O'Halpin and a few players back from Australia, so they're getting it together, and they might fancy themselves for an upset. They put it right up to Grange in that early game. Grange just pulled away at the end.
I suppose Ballymore they're maybe contradicting what I said about the gap, but they've won Junior A's, and
they are a little bit more of a kind of up and down.
They have been more so than anyone, but they have some really good players.
They do.
They're strong. I know every club is strong, but Ballymore, it was 3 or 4 years ago, were unlucky to brought Kilcock to a replay in the
on the Roland Ice.
And we're probably unlucky, particularly the first day. I remember I was at both games. I thought they did enough the first day to win it, and how easy it can go the other way. Like Kilcock, we won't talk too much about Kilcock, but they're still senior and Ballymore back junior. So it can change. It can change very easily.
And I do know Ballymore did have a lot of players travelling.
And they're a rural club,
and what do you call it? Obviously, I think Mark Barrett was injured earlier on there. I think he's back, and his brother Shane, and his brother Shane was in Australia, and Shane is back as well. So no, look, Ballymore, I'd probably, if I was to call it, I'd say Grange are the favourites, and they've looked good, but
they're the team to beat. There's no doubt
they are the team to beat. But
and they're a big physical, strong side like the Bergens. 3 and 4.
Three of them actually. I think. Was it Oran that was in Australia at the start of the year? But as far as I know, he's back. He's back now and look, Fionbergen's he's a real accurate scorer, and
they will look at they look to be the team to beat.
They do,
Not to say they're going to win it, but certainly they're in the driving seat from what I can see.
No, absolutely. But it's an interesting championship, as I said. Even the quarterfinals, like Garvan and Castle Mitchell, will be itching to get to a semi-final, and Kappa won't roll over for Ballymore.
No,
they went up ahead of them in the Division 4 league, so Ballymore won't be taking them for granted. So no, it'll be interesting to see over the next 2 weeks. I suppose the big thing is maybe for some teams, and sometimes with junior you might kind of have a gap where you've a few older lads and then you've a few younger lads, because you're in that transition, and having maybe that 2 week gap for some teams might make a difference. But no, it'll be interesting to follow that one. I suppose moving on to the intermediate championship over the weekend, I suppose we spoke about Larry's in Kilcullen. We'll start there, and in fairness, I'm looking here at unofficial Kildare's tables. It's deadly, and I was doing the same with the commentary over the weekend. You'd be talking for maybe 3 or 4 minutes before the game, and you'd say we'll go through the permutations, and he has a lot laid out.
In fairness to Tommy, he makes it very easy.
He does. He does. So it's been handy. But Larry's topped the group anyway. It was funny actually, just chatting to said he'd be good pals with the Bellers, and like to win 2 games in your group and not get out of it is a bit of a killer for the Rags, like to have 2 wins, but it was that just kind of one poor performance against 2 House that the scoring difference went against them. But Kevin's probably will be disappointed to be where they are. They're a good, strong, they're physical, they're good players in their side, and I'm sure Dave Murphy will be disappointed. But they've one more game now against Monasterevin.
They've one more game, and it's hard to believe that Kevin's and Monasterevin are the 2 teams fighting to, 2 years ago, I'm trying to think, time is flying. 2 years ago we played Monasterevin in the semi-final, and it was we probably kicked on the last 10 minutes, but it was neck and neck all the way through. But they had lost a good bit of players, and a good few players, have been away, and there was a couple of them back, Pádraig Nash and these. But it's like the momentum is such a powerful thing. Either way, you'll win games you shouldn't win when you're in the momentum, and then you lose games you shouldn't lose because maybe a little bit of doubt and same thing again, and it just it's
in one way it is a habit, and not. But as you said, if you've lost 10 games and you're a point down, you go, here we go again. Where maybe if you've won the last 10 games, you go, we know how to win, or your mindset is different.
And maybe even the mindset of the team you're playing are different. Jesus, they've won. These are going to be hard to beat. And, the game's in the balance, and maybe just subconsciously 1 or 2 of them are thinking, this team's going to come, and it's just, and it's very hard to measure it. It
is.
That's going to be tooth and nail. Like Kevin's and Monasterevin, they're 2 teams that probably play a little bit similar. Both have a little physical element to them. I suppose there'd be a lot of dual players in Kevin's as well. There'd be hurling for Kyle Love, and I'm sure David Murphy's they're playing tonight, no different than Mark Hogarty and Alan Wood. He's looking through the fingers to hope that everyone comes through on scale. But we could talk about the dual calendar for what's expected of the dual player. We get 2 episodes out of it, but that's another thing Kevin's have to do, and they've a good few of them. And when things are not going well,
it's usually when you would go pick up an injury or something when things are against you.
Exactly,
no, it'll be, and I say Monasterevin, I don't know if the good few lads are returning to Australia, I'm not sure, but you need your strongest players available to you, especially in a time like that. 2 House qualify for the prelim, and after kind of being a bit up and down, they were very poor against Lawrence's in one half, and then the second half they were good, and good performance against Kilcullen, and
a couple of lads
with that winning.
But they're getting strong.
Chris Healy is back, and there was another fella, again the name evades me there. He was home, I think it was Canada, Keneally.
Yeah, Adam Keneally is back, and I think Tony O'Connor.
Yeah, Tony O'Connor, who hadn't played the league anyway.
Yeah.
Is back. So yeah, like as I said, it's not ideal that you be missing those lads earlier, but at the same time it might just give them a lift. A lift going forward.
And look, I know Peter Kelly was injured maybe a little bit early on, but he's a big leader in that team as well, and you have that bit of experience with the bit of youth, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Declan Cowan's a good. I'm not sure he played it the weekend, but I saw him name. No, I didn't see the game, but you know, a couple of times he played. That'd be Dara's brother. You know, he's a good. Yeah,
when they get everyone available to them, they're a decent side.
Yeah.
And then Larry's progressing. They progressed to play Castledermot. I actually commentated on Castledermot and Balliteague last Thursday, and in fairness to Castledermot, they looked, while they were disappointing against Salins and lost to Towers. They were good against Balliteague. They showed kind of qualities, like they have. Like the experience in their half back line with Pádraig Nolan and Brian Pádraig Murphy, Brian Nolan and Emma O'Keefe. In fairness to Emma, he was excellent that night. He was
he's the brainy, best player. He's a brainy footballer.
Yeah, he is. He's really smart. And when I seen him listed at 6, it goes, you can see how it makes sense, because he'd be probably able to. And
like, you know, he's not getting any younger, but maybe doesn't, where maybe the legs aren't as good as they were. He'll get away with it because he's a brainy footballer. He'll bring lads into the game. He'll conduct lads. You could see him talking to lads, you know. Yeah. He'll get the defence.
And in fairness to him, he nearly played like a young lad. He was bursting through the middle, and he won 2 or 3 frees in. I think he kicked 2 points in the game.
I know he's a good lad, and look, he was involved there with the
Ronan,
last year. Sometimes when
he's actually listed as a coach or manager, kind of player manager with Castledermot. There's another fellow in, but he's
when you can do both of those, and obviously he has the personality as well. He's good with people, and he's a very likeable fella. You know, I don't like.
I've only spoken to him a few times, but I know like that.
I know him reasonably well. But he's coaching on the field.
Do
you know? And people have respect for him. It's not a case of who's this lad. People have respect for him because he's a really good guy. You know, I know
conduct
him well.
From there. It's funny. Castledermot went into that game having to win by 6, and sometimes it can be a tricky one. Like it was kind of for Balliteague, right? We want to win, but just let's not lose by more than 6. And it can be a tricky one to approach. You know, psychologically. Castledermot started really well. Balliteague came into it back a bit, but Castledermot well. But as it turned out, what was the final score? 4-16 to 2-9. They ended up passing out Towers on the scoring difference. They finished level and scraped through to that automatic, and that's what set them up with Larry's. And look, I think maybe for Larry's it might be no harm that it might set a fire under them. Castledermot, I've no doubt it'll set a fire. Like, their 2 teams are going to be up for it, and that will be an intriguing game. It's down for the Friday night in St. Conleth's Park, so should be a good occasion. I suppose looking at Group A, Ratangan topped that group ahead of Milltown, but a draw level on points. Ratangan and Ellistown then qualifying in that 3rd position, and Straffan are out of the championship. I seen a bit of Ratangan on Clubber there about 2 weeks ago. Rian Tean, in fairness to him, I know he hasn't played much with Kildare. You can see the benefit of being a part of the Kildare squad. Like, he's massive, and he's physically fast. He was very impressive. He can.
And Rian is 6'3", 6'4".
I kind of thought he looked like a minor player playing under 16 game. Do you know, as in he looked physically bigger than everyone.
Like, he would have been in when I was involved. We would have brought him in. I would have seen him play. I would have played against him and trying to on his coattails, trying to slow him down. But he is a burst of pace, and his body composition has changed completely in the last couple of years, and he still has that burst. Now
he didn't.
I suppose the challenge for him is, you're thinking, okay, you need to do that more. When he opens up.
He looked. I was impressed with him in that game. Anyway, I know they won well against Ellistown, but he did look a big unit. Milltown, to their credit and fairness, like Rathangan and Milltown will definitely fancy themselves.
Yeah.
They are contenders. Milltown reaching a semi-final last year, maybe disappointed, but they just have a lot of young players coming through.
Yeah, and they're good young, and those young lads, obviously Milltown, a neighbouring club, and I'd have a good insight into them. A lot of those young lads have been playing, you know, they were beaten in a Fela A final against Selbridge when they were, you know, and that's a lot of that team coming through. And you know, the other thing as well, but when you look at their traditional, come from traditional families, do you know what I mean? That are football and families, so and they're going to stay with it. They're going to be there long term. Big, the loss of Joe Dunn in the middle. Like Joe is huge, big man. Very unfortunate from the clip I saw to get sent off. I thought, listen, it was a bit, but his intention was, it just caught him a bit wrong. But I thought it was a harsh sending off. He'll be a loss around because he's winning prime possession, you know, big man and good to get off the ground. But they've some really good players, and obviously Colin O'Shea. We talked about the importance of Emmett O'Keefe with Castledermot. Colin O'Shea with Milltown is just, you know, and plays aggressively, you know. Brings them young lads with him, challenges them, you know. He's a massive plus for them.
He is a huge player for them, in both ways, I suppose, in the dressing room and on the pitch. They play League Slip,
which is and League Slip are tipping away there. They have maybe
they've went into the losers group and with Suncroft, Nerney and Munster Evan, and we'll talk about Nerney and Suncroft in a minute. But probably were heavy favourites going into each game, and they're racked up a plus 43 of a scoring difference, but they're a good side. I've seen them in the league against
and they were
Lawrence,
very unlucky to be in that. Like they could have probably should have been
lost out to Rathangan by a point.
And that was a ding dong
game. It was.
So, but I suppose then it's like everything. It's how you look at it, and you know, some people say, "Oh, they haven't beaten a big team along the way. Are they undercooked?" All this sort of thing comes into it, and it'll come depending on how the next game goes. Like it's a big game, and Milltown will, you know, I think they beat Milltown by a pint last year, and
there wasn't. It was.
Milltown will be rubbing their hands in. I'm glad we get a crack at these. So there's a lot to play for that.
They've Leaslip had a McDermott fella in the middle.
Darren McDermott, a good player, very athletic.
I don't know much about him.
Good.
Seen him before. Do you know what age he is?
Yeah, he's young. I'd say he's probably around the 24. He's definitely, I don't think he's more than 25. Now maybe I could be way off, but he very athletic, very direct, and has direct, an engine. An engine.
Quick and
he is. He's a good lad.
Suncroft and Suncroft getting through then on 4 points in that group. Fairness to Fionn Dowling there, he's still. I think I was saying to him going into the last game, I said you're 8 points behind on the score. And he scored 7 at the weekend, so he's still
hard luck, Fionn.
Behind. James Dalton is ahead of him. I think James Dalton has 4 or 5 goals, and Fionn's are all points. So I said you need a few goals, but himself and Owen Lawless there.
You know, having Owen Lawless back is massive for them
huge
too,
as well.
Because he's a good footballer, and he's direct, and he sees a gap and he's gone. And he's hard to handle. And then when Fionn wins the ball in around that area,
he's the scorer inside for them.
He's so strong. And left and right, he's great use of his body, you know. And then he's a great free taker as well. So he's a lot to give.
They've good, and Tommy Cleary's men will be happy to be into a prelim, and they'll play Ellistown, and you know both teams will fancy themselves there, a good opportunity for both teams to reach quarter final. I suppose the last team we'll talk about there is Salins, who just look shit hot at the minute. I suppose 4-16 to 6 points against Castledermot, 2-20 to 6 against Balliteague, and 20 points to 10 against Towers. I think the only way people could bring them down was saying just Towers are the first team to keep them from getting a goal. That was kind of.
I know. They are where they are for a reason. Like I've seen them a couple of times on the club, and look, John Danielson's involved in them from Blessington. You know, he's a good coach. He's them organised. He seems to have them bought into what he's trying to do. Obviously, you have quality. If the Daltons there,
Colm, he's impressive for Kildare, and he seems to be flying. He's a great lad. He's a great lad. He has he's fast, he's direct, but he can finish.
But you know, there's no rubbish with him. There's no I'm better than he's a humble guy.
I've only spoke to him once or twice. He was over at one of the games, and he seems a really nice fella.
And he's the lad that'll be down the field, you know, kicking around.
Yeah,
he just wants to play football. There's no airs and grace about him. Like, I would have known Colin since he came through the squads, and you know, I was involved there a little bit with him at minor, like, and like, I'm going to do my best here. You know, if it was bad today, listen, I was bad, but I'll be back tomorrow to go again. Yeah, there's no excuses. There's no blaming anyone. You know, and then Darren Mangan seems to be in the middle of the field, like he's been there before, but he's
was he in Kildare to start there?
He was, I think, massive, but he can move, Podge.
Right, okay.
You know, and he's great hands, and he's chipping in with scores, and you know, and it's a strong, solid team that seem to be, you know, have their house in order. Yeah, and like. You'd be a fool to bet against them at this stage. Yeah, no. Now some people would say, "Oh, they're favourites every year, a bit like league slip." But
but I think this year more so than any other that they really seem to. Yeah, like, look, as you say, sometimes you'd say just they haven't been tested yet, but like all they can do is go out and play their best and win, and they've done that. And even without, I think it was Keane Grimes that was suspended. I think he got a 2-game suspension. Yeah. So he's going to miss he'll miss the next game as well, and it's Ellistown or Suncroft who play Salins on that side, and then Rathangan, and then you've Larry's, Castledermot, Leixlip and Milltown on the other side, and look, Larry's are probably disappointed, as I said, they haven't really got firing yet, but like you beat Castledermot to go in against Leixlip or Milltown, they won't, and listen, and you could end up in a final, and anything can happen, and I do think they'll raise their game maybe against, if they can up it. Look, they've a bit to do, but
we talked about it, momentum. You get a couple of wins, and all of a sudden, then
you come right at the right time.
It is a powerful thing.
Hopefully so.
we won it. We struggled against Kilcullen. I think we gave away 4 or 5 goals in that pre-quarter final. You know, you talk about Kilcullen going out after winning 2. We were beaten twice and we got through. We were beaten twice in the winners group. Got through, and next thing. Just kicked off,
comes at the right time.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. As Salins looked the team to beat, and finally looking at the Joe Mallon Motors Senior Football Championship, I should say. I see Larry Malone there said a few weeks ago, the National Electrical Wholesalers Intermediate Football Championship. They want to leave that one out.
We better give Larry a bit of a bit of a twist.
I can't say the Joe Mallon Motors on now.
I'd say keep poor Anthony and the guys in there a bit of a link with as well. So bit of PR is no harm for them.
Yeah, I suppose looking at the Senior Championship, I suppose I've seen kind of bits of games or through Clubber and got to a few. Selbridge topped their group and tie in second, Johnson Bridge and Clotterinco. I actually done Selbridge and Clotterinco, and it was probably a funny game. Like, Clotterinco were out of the championship and Selbridge did actually have to win anyway. So, Selbridge, like, when I looked at their team, it's like, Jesus, like every player is nearly county. Do you know, like, it's mad. But Jesus, they struggled to put away Clotterinco. They left them in it for long periods. Like, Bluey Nolan, in fairness, played well enough, and Keane McGonigal, and they're down a few as well. Actually, do you know who was really impressive for them? Galligan in the
Kelly Galligan. He's an athlete.
He was a good. He's a great, but they're a solid old unit. And like, look, when they did have Jack Robinson, and there's a few more lads. One of the Gretons is out injured. They're a good side. They're a good side. When they have everyone, they can be very competitive.
But they'll battle.
They battled all the way there against Jimmy Lynch there as well.
He's a good lad.
Selbridge do, like, they beat at high by 6 points, and I didn't see that game. Like, they do have good players around the pitch.
That's the thing. I suppose that's the thing with Selbridge. At the start of the year, you're putting them in the top 4, top 5. You know, the potential to win the championship, and I'm still at that. I looked at them against Clay, and I said, even though they beat Clay, and I said, I don't know. Then you're thinking, because a tie up to that were going really well. I think a tie you're going to take, and then they beat a tie comfortably enough. And then, you know, you're thinking, and just maybe they're going better than they were. And then there's that inconsistency with them.
Yeah, even drawing with Johnstown Bridge, and then, like, you would have kind of thought, yes, Johnstown Bridge looked like they're kind of coming back to themselves, and then a tie them trimming at the weekend.
I looked at it. I looked at the Twitter. I was out at the girls of the match. I looked at Twitter, and it was half time. Actually, I'd forgot about it. I was looking at different matches, and they were 20 points down at half time. I said, holy God, there must be a hurricane of a win, you know. Now, Johnstown did, I don't know what was in the end. They did pull it back a little bit, but it was game over at half time. You were never going to pull 20 points back.
20 points back, but yeah, and a tie or they'll be thereabouts.
They will.
Good
they'll
quality
be there
all
thereabouts,
around.
yeah.
Obviously with Feely and Neil Kelly, and they seem to have a few. Paddy Bean spent the summer in America, and I think they won wherever he was. Boys, he's decent there as well.
And Colin Moran kicks in with 3-8.
Yeah, 3-8. Yeah, he actually
a serious score.
He's kind of a player that's really, what would you say, not in the limelight, but like he's been looked good at minors.
He's
like
young and even
20s and broke into the Thai team last year, and like 3-8, like it takes a bit of quality to do that.
It was easy. There'd be a lot of lads scoring 3-8, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not an easy thing to do. He's a good lad. He seems a good lad. No, I wouldn't know Colin that well, but he's one you're shaking. He's one to keep an eye on. And
well, look, as you say, kind of a bit of breeding there as well. The
yeah,
father,
absolutely. Would have played a bit with Kildare back.
Well, and there'll be, you say, he'd be going the right direction, kind of, and getting plenty of encouragement. But yeah, he looks like a huge addition to them, and you say 3-8 is a huge score, and he'll be.
And I suppose the challenge for him now, they're going playing the next day. He's going to be
a marked man.
Yeah, and how does he deal with that? Yeah. That is the challenge.
Yeah,
do you know, you have to find a way.
It's funny. I remember when I had that good game, bring it up to Tyrone game. There was a early round of championship the following week, and we were playing Carberry. And I remember a few days before I walked into Paddy Power, and there was a picture of me on one of the screens, a teenage sensation, first goal scorer, Lards against Carberry. I was 5-1. I said, "Jeez, I've made it. I'm on a screen in Paddy Power." Went out against Carberry. I never got a kick of it. It was I actually, I thought about it after I went through the game. I think I touched the ball once in the game. I kicked 4 frees, and I touched the game once from play, but my head was probably swelled up going.
But you're starting to believe the hype. But we've all done it. Like, I mean, I remember. I think it was 03 or 04. We beat Wicklow in the first round. I think Tig Fenn got 2 goals. I think, and I kicked a couple of points. And then we played Westmeath, who were there. Or was it 05? I can't remember. Maybe it was 05. Yeah, it was 05 because Westmeath were 04 champions, so they were Leinster champions. And it was one of those days, Podge, if no matter where I went, the ball fell into my hand, and it kicked whatever. I kicked a few pints and everything, and then I got the crystal ball. I was delighted, man, the match, and then I got sports. Vodafone at the time were doing sports. Player of the month. Myself and Owen Kelly from Waterford were brought up to the Dublin. Those pictures taken in the suit, and then I got Irish Independent Sports Star of the Year, and I was Johnny. Wow, delighted. Played Laois in the next round. I'm going to continue now. Just Aidan Fenley destroyed. We were bet by I think 12 points in the end. And that's the time when 12 points, 8 points was a hiding. So. And I remember, it was the best lesson I ever got. You don't get it too ahead of yourself. I thought it was Jack O'Shea, but we all fell into that one.
Yeah, so don't fall into that one, Colin. No, as I said, he looks a player.
He does.
Look at that Group B. Sarsfield's beating Ace. I know it was a dead rubber, but it was funny. Just it was the first time Ace was beaten in
5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Like say, it was only when they do get bet. I suppose. I don't know if you've seen any. Did you?
I didn't see it. No.
I actually didn't. I didn't get to tune into that one myself, but. Look, Sarsfield's Naas didn't seem to be full strength in the league final, and I was disappointed with Sarsfield's.
Yeah,
but obviously, like that's a good win for them, and they are. Look, Sarsfield's are Sarsfield's. They're always going to be a big club,
and they are
strong, and
they're moving well, and they've a lot of they've the experience with the bit of youth, like Ben Lockman is playing really well. Ryan Carney. Playing well, bit of tradition in those two boys. Wayne Carney be a grandson of the great Holly Crinigan that played for Clare's first All-Star. So there's, he plays a bit of soccer too, but I think Sarties are getting the best out of him at the moment. Yeah, you've Tyke Ho. He seems to have found a bit of form.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
He looks fit. He's aggressive as and a big unit.
Them long kick-outs now is just valuable, isn't it?
And if he's not winning, no one else is winning. He plays, plays close to the line. And then you've Shea Ryan playing with Dara Ryan. Matty Byrne. There's a bit of experience. Ben comes on. Not sure where Ben is, but bringing him on at this stage, you'd imagine he's only coming right. I was talking to a Sarties man afterwards, and I said, "Well, you must be happy with that." I said, "I don't know. didn't seem to bother Naas a bit too much, and I don't know how were they taking it serious. And I said, I don't know. I've been in a lot of dressing rooms. I've never been in a dressing room where a manager says, "Listen, don't worry about today, lads. If you win, you win."
Yeah.
Do you know, like I think
don't want to stop the winning streak.
Yeah, well, like if Naas had bet them again, give them a bit of a thumping, you'd be thinking, here we're wasting our time. Now they're energised.
Yeah.
And thinking, like he said to me, you won't beat Naas twice in the year, and maybe they won't. But you're coming to train on Tuesday night with a pep in your steps, saying, you know what, they still had these boys, so I think it was a good win for I think it was a good win for Sarsfields.
Good win for Sarsfields. And Maynooth beat Raheens in the other game. I suppose speaking about Raheens last week, I actually done the commentary on that game as well, and at half time it was kind of a weird swirling win in Clay, but I thought it was kind of in Raheens' favour in the second half, and I thought Raheens looked better in the first half. Maynooth I think it looks like they're kind of down a good few lads. Like Neil was tugged and came on in the end. I'll speak about him in a minute, but Raheens looked better kind of, and thought, geez, Raheens are on for a win here. Went 2 points up, and Neil Flynn got brought on, and he kicked an absolute cracker straight away from the arc, and he wasn't right. His hamstring, I think, isn't 100% yet, but it was a super point. But he just seemed to, everyone kind of got a lift when he came on. Speaking, like as mentioned to you before, Dara Crowley in the middle for Raheens, he was unreal in the middle. He went down the heart of defence, pace, strong, but comfortable kicking it over the bar.
He scored a good player.
3 points in the first half. I think he could have been in with Kildare earlier in the year and had hamstring trouble.
Well, he would have been obviously on the panel when they won the All Ireland with Brian. Like I said, I know Dara since he was 14 and very athletic. You can get up and down the field. Like he takes an awful lot of boxes what you need, but there's times, again, a bit like Green Tea, you're saying, right there, time to go now there. Do you know? He needs to have that consistency. But he's young and he's learning, and you know, I think he's one. He's one I'd certainly be keeping an eye on and seeing what we can do.
Yeah, he showed a lot of good qualities.
And he can move, Podge.
He actually, there were maybe 2 points down or went a point down then, and he actually went down the hard defence, and he had Paddy Woodgate inside him. It was kind of a 3-on-2, and he ended up shooting and getting blocked, and Maynooth went down and go. But look, it was one of those kind of, your man backed off, but Maynooth kicked on and won by 8 or 9 points. But it was one of those games that I thought was really there for Raheens. I know I said last year, or last week, like to break that kind of, they have good players in their side. Just to break that, I'm sure they're disappointed not to.
They would be, and like, you know, look at they won the first day against Cara, and that sort of, you know, keeps them out of the trouble end of things. But they certainly look at I'm not sure whether it could be 3 or 4 years ago now they won a minor A, but as we said before, it's time to start coming now. Lads,
exactly. Them lads
you have to step up.
And it is
the worst thing to be known is he was a good minor. In other words, you know, so. But they have a lot of good ingredients there, so it's just getting the mix right.
And Maynooth progress now and play Moorfield. Clay and Moorfield played out the other day. I think Moorfield, Aaron Masterson, I'm not too sure what the injury is, but he's a huge loss.
He's a loss
if he's gone for the next few weeks. But Clay got the job done anyways, and I think Clay look like to have like with Shane Sullivan, Brian McLaughlin, and Adam Fanning, and they have like other good forwards as well. Like they're 3 that should be.
I think the few games I saw Shane, and I was thinking, has he not really at his full tilt now? I was talking to a guy that was at it the last day, and he thought he was really good. So maybe he's coming into a bit of form. Adam Fanning a little bit the same. Like he's good.
Yeah, if they could have them players in top form. Yeah,
and then Oisín Tadhg is, you know, he doesn't grab the limelight, but he's a ball winner inside. You know, he's strong, he's aggressive. So look, and obviously Mackie will kick points for you, you know. And I wouldn't like
they play Naas, I think it is.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one for them. Yeah, it's going to be tough, but it's one that, you know, throw off the gloves and have a go here, you know. They're not to lose.
And obviously Johnny, you were disappointed losing out to Kilcock last weekend, 3-8 to 1-12. I suppose the thing with goals win games maybe in that one, but it's a relegation playoff now against Comfy, so it's
disappointing. Look, I suppose like Anton Podge, the first thing you want to do is say, listen, whatever happens here, we produce what we're capable of producing, and that's the disappointing thing, you know. no, Kilcock could tell you when we were way off where we thought we were as well. When got the couple of goals, we were a pint up going in. Conditions were tough, but they were tough for both teams. Just like that momentum, things just didn't hop for us on the day. Ball spilling, like we turned the ball over unforced so many times, and it was like you were not playing with confidence. But look, we are where we are for a reason, no different than Confi, and we're just going to have to dust ourselves down, and you've one chance to stave your senior status, and now it's not a place we wanted to be in. But we are, and we have to just say
have to go and win your
we have to go down. We have to go, and whatever happens.
Confi maybe might feel not a bit aggrieved, but in fairness to them, like 116 to 2-9 against Carberry, lost out to Cara 117 to 116 and 311 to 120 in Easttown. They've been competitive in their games. Yeah. Look, it might be considered slightly the easier of the two loser groups, but they do finish bottom. Cara will be delighted to reach, like, obviously won the intermediate last year, but it's nice to reach a quarter final of a senior championship the following year. Looked at good players in Dara Soares, and looked at good Ryan Burke is great
and
stuff,
and Dan Lynham in the middle of the field.
Yeah, he actually looks.
He's good.
Yeah,
he would have been on that team that lost the All Ireland final to Tyrone. Like, Dan is a good.
Yeah,
I suppose
centre forward.
But he's a big man. He has great hands. He can get off the ground. He ticks in. I suppose you're looking at lads to the next level. He ticks but I don't know whether he wants it as much. I just get that impression from him. He likes his football. Now, maybe I'm as far out as a lighthouse, but I'd love him to have say, listen, I want this. I want to give everything.
Because he has all the qualities.
He has the qualities. But I'm not
sure he could be in there next year. It'd be interesting to see what.
Because like Flano knows him inside out. We had him,
Yeah, exactly. So he'll have a good read
of him. Is right.
And then Easttown got out of that group. In fairness, they maybe looked like when they took the 3-16 to 11 points loss against Cara. Everyone considered an upset when they beat Carberry. It was probably the first round. It wouldn't be considered an upset. Yeah. But maybe people thought Easttown weren't going as well. And then I actually just seen the last 20 minutes of game against Confi, and they've actually good forwards like Conor McCarthy. Is it?
Podge
Tui, like even Keane Bolton come on and boot over a 2-pointer. Like, when he came on, I actually just thought straight away, I said he'd probably get a 2-pointer here, a bit of a breeze, and he's a good left foot. And
then you've Keane Bourne. Keane Bourne was county minor footballer. Do you know he's
he'd probably be on. He probably wouldn't be too far off the county squad, would he? If he was committed, if he was doing the football in Ireland. But he's an animal of a man. And Carberry exit the championship. I suppose their kind of shining light this year was Owen Cully. Obviously, he was in with the county, and he looked good in one or two games. Probably,
but he's learning too, Podge. Like, again, no different than
he's
Colin
starting
Moore.
to get double marked now, and it's a different proposition. But he'll have to work that out.
But that's the game.
That's the way it's going to be for him.
Where are they strong? How do we nullify this? And you got to figure it out. But he's young, and he's done really well. He's like, he came on the Talton Cup final. There was a couple of games he came on. Like, at the start of the year, he wasn't on the panel, so he's made progress. And I suppose for him now going into next year for Kildare, it's that second year syndrome. It can go either way. He's got to find a way to go again.
Yeah, he has.
But he's a good young lad. He's a good lad. He's a good lad.
Yeah, and I suppose that means 24 teams are out of the championship, or quarter final. You'd have, I think you're looking at about 20 teams anyway. So managers staying on, managers going. There'll probably be a few changes. So that's where we maybe be hoping to come in. That's what we're about here on All About the Game podcast. We're in association with Clinched, and I suppose it's phone calls, and it's a tricky time of the year for chairman when you are on the lookout for a new manager and trying to find where you're going, and that's where we're hoping
and look, without naming names, I would have heard a few clubs and managers have parted company. Well, I haven't heard anything official, but you're just hearing bits and pieces, and it'll be maybe obviously a club looking for who's out there. We need a new manager. Maybe there's someone lined up. Maybe and it goes back into the original reason we would have felt that the Clinched App was going to be successful was that we take all the hardship of ringing lads and talking to lads and this and 20 lads. I heard you were talking to Paddy up the road, and my far down the list, and all that awkwardness. It's in the phone now. It's on the register for free, and so the clubs that we have involved in, you know, even with just checking there after the weekend, it's funny, you know, we've had a few coaches already have signed up because they're maybe looking for their next project. And you know, Podge, it's funny, people get fixated, and some people call it the Premiership mentality, and like I think it's a mentality of us all. You know, like nobody likes to say, maybe, you know what, I was to blame, or I have the part of the blame. We like to, well, look at, but you didn't get a score. But Podge wouldn't kick it in. But it's a natural thing to defend yourself, and we like to blame. Like, there's a lot of good managers out there, potential managers for clubs that may not, with the group of players where they're at that time, it just didn't work, but could go on with a different club and be. And there's loads of examples of them. You know, a lot of managers would feel that I've still something to offer. I want to be involved in the game at a coaching level, at getting a team. And while it didn't work for the team I was with, there's no reason the next group of lads again, because it is people, and it is maybe a team at a certain stage. It's at a club with a different mentality or a different vision, and it can just click. You know, and I suppose that's what we're going to see more of over. Like, to be fair, the response we've had for our first year through the GA clubs just blew me away. You know, like, we've had so many sign-ups, so many clubs looking. Like, you only think about maybe your own when you're in the thing yourself, or you'd hear maybe a club neighbour club or look, I see they're looking for another. But this is an issue all over the country. Do you know, we've had, like, I was looking at a couple coming. Like, we've had a couple in Donegal signing up, a couple down in Cork, and you're thinking, Jesus, it's going on all over.
It is.
So,
but it's that that's time. The thing. Look, it's everyone wants the right fit, I suppose, of a manager. And look, sometimes it's inside your own club, sometimes it's not. And you could get lads applying that are within the club, but maybe, you know, thought of put it out there, but sure, I can throw my name in. But I think that's kind of the beauty of it, like applying, but privately applying. There's no one that can see, and it's very difficult. It's very difficult for a manager to pick up the phone to a club and say, "Jeez, I want your job," because you're thinking, "Why is he ringing?"
Well, I suppose most of us would like to think have a bit of humility, and
maybe it's an Irish thing.
It is an Irish thing, there's no doubt about it.
Also, the club mightn't have thought of that person, you know, and that's where we're trying to kind of, I suppose, break that. You know, if they get 8 or 9 managers
showing an interest,
an interest, like, there is, like, people, like, look, like, I know I enjoy coaching. I'm down with Clonmore, I enjoy it. Just please God, someday I can manage St. Lawrence's. But I know that if I manage maybe St. Lawrence's for 2 or 3 years, that, you know, if that was my stint, is that the end of managing? No, you know, you want to. And look, it's great. I say I love it down in Clonmore. You meet lads, and it's a different.
But you meet the best of people.
You're kind of playing down and going around Carlow, and you're meeting, how does Carlow work?
Your network is grown, and
exactly. And I just enjoy coaching and enjoy that side of it. And look, there's thousands of, look, we have, say, we're in a good position, or privileged position, where we have 1,000 coaches plus signed up. But it's, you know, about finding that right fit. And look, and as much as, you know, we're an amateur sport, but teams want the best. Players expect the best. They want the best available to them. You know, they want to drive to the next level. And look, I was reading an article, I think it was actually Charlie Smith had said about, like, you know, you'd see all county players, like, how ripped they are. Like, that's not easy. He was like, you actually look at the club players now and the condition to have themselves in. Like, and it isn't easy to keep yourself in that good nick to be performed, but the standards are just all the time going up, which is great. So look, hopefully we're going to be busy in the next.
Well, you would expect, as I say, like, already we've had new coaches signing up, and you know, a couple of clubs have been on looking to see what's involved. So look, over the next while we'll plug it a bit more. You know, that's what it's about. But hopefully, you know, I know the great thing, what we think, when we're going to sell it too, because we believe in it. But you know, I know there's clubs have signed up and they're got a great success, and then, you know, there's clubs signed up and maybe it didn't work for them, but they love the idea, and maybe the next time it will. So you've nothing to lose, and I think that's the beauty of it.
Yeah. Look, please God, it'll be busy, and we look forward to the preliminary quarterfinals this weekend, and it's going to be busy over the next few weeks. Johnny, thanks a million for your time this evening. This is All About the Game podcast in association with Clinched. You can download our podcast wherever you get it. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you next week.